Premiere Elements offers a plethora of amazing effects that you can apply to your clips. I'm just going to go to the action bar and I'm going to choose Effects. That's a quick way to remember where the effects are, but you can also come down to the bottom of the screen here and click the little effects button. Now these effects range from everything from Gaussian blur, which is basically a blur effect, to special effects like flare or lightning, and color effects such as a cartoon effect or an inverted color effect or a black and white effect, for example. Now, one of the things I like here is if I click the video effects button, there's also these new film looks. I click film looks, and there's a bunch of movie style looks here in this category. I just love these. One of the most interesting here is Pandora, which creates an avatar-like effect. And so if we just drag and drop that effect, you see that our people look like they're from the planet Pandora and their skin is blue. It's a pretty cool effect. Now, one of the things I like about this is that I can play around with these effects and I don't have to worry about unapplying them or taking them off or something. I could say, for example, I want to apply this horror effect. I can simply click and drag and drop on the clip either in the viewer or in the timeline here and just let go. And it says, do you want to remove existing effects? And I actually do. So it knows that I want to, or it guesses that I want to replace what I had before and gives me the choice to do so. So I'm going to choose yes. And now we have this cool horror movie effect. So the colors are kind of desaturated. It's a little bit darker and more contrasty. Very cool look. Now, if I wanted to adjust this even more, I could go up to the adjust button in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. And I see this little green icon letting me know that this effect has changed our color settings. So I could open this up and I could choose more and I could see the settings used here. So if I wanted to, I could take down saturation even more, or I could bring back some of that saturation if I wanted to. Whatever I wanted to do, I really have all the flexibility in the world here. If I want to take off this effect temporarily, I could click this little eye icon to turn it off. And now our clip is back to the way it was. I just want to run through a few more of these effects with you because there are some really cool ones here. One of the ones I like that's not so apparent right off the bat is red noir. What this does, if I apply it, and I'll click yes to remove existing effects, is it makes everything black and white, except that it makes red pop out still. So all the red stuff still remains red, but everything else is black and white. So you can see even this little tiny flower here, right there, is still red, and the water balloon's kind of red there, and everything else is black and white. Now I'm actually going to go here, and I'm going to choose crushed color. I love the way this effect looks. So I'm going to drag and drop this onto my clip. I'm going to choose yes to remove existing effects. And there we have this Hollywood-like look. We have this blockbuster water balloon fight now. I love the way this looks. So I'm going to go back to effects, and I'm going to actually change this from film looks, the category from film looks to video effects. And at the bottom of the video effects, there is a vignetting effect. So as I click and drag and drop this on my footage, we notice that we now have this cool vignette. Now, if I want to adjust this effect, since it's not really a color effect, it's more like a special effect, I go to Applied Effects, and I click this to open it, and you can see that vignetting shows up here. And again, I have this eye icon, so if I want to temporarily remove the visibility, I can click that, and I'll go ahead and click that back on. I'll go ahead and click this to open it back up. And as you can see here, we have a lot of adjustment choices for this vignette. One cool trick is that if we take amount all the way down, and size all the way down, and roundness all the way down, we create what looks like a film slide with these rounded rectangle edges there. It's a pretty cool effect. Now you'll notice that in doing that, I created this cool effect, but I also completely ruined the vignette that I had before. So what I can do is click this little icon right here, which will reset the effect back to the default settings, and now I can tweak it. Now, if you'll notice here in these corners where the original footage is bright, the vignette's very obvious, and that's not a good thing. So here in the corner where it was a little bit dark, the vignette looks great, and we can't really see it, which is kind of what we want with the vignette. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the amount which actually brightens the vignette. I'm going to take this all the way up to about -20 or so. Now you could barely see the vignette in these corners against the bright edges. If I turn the effect on and off using the eye icon here, you can see that this is before, which is significantly brighter. Then you turn it on, and it helps to darken these edges and draw our focus into the center of the image where all of the action is. Now, we could also go over to Expert View, and if we go to the Effects button down here at the bottom in the Effects view, you'll notice that we have plenty more categories to choose from. And if you have third-party plugins installed, this is where you will see those as well. Say, for example, I went down to the Render category. You see that I have lightning here, and I can drag and drop the lightning onto my footage. And because it's not really a color effect, it's not replacing anything that was there before, just kind of applying on top of it. Now, as I drag my current time indicator around here, you could see that there's this cool lightning over my clip. And of course, we can go to the Applied Effects area, open up Lightning, and change the parameters if we want to. Now, with effects and transitions, if you're noticing a little bit slow playback, which can happen depending on your system and the amount of effects you've applied, you can click the Render button, which will render your scene for you, and then everything will play back perfectly in real time. If you decide, like in this case, I don't really want that lightning, I could come over here to Lightning in the Applied Effects area, click the trash can icon, and that deletes the effect. So now we have this really cool Hollywood stylized footage with a really nice vignette which draws our attention inwards, and we have a much more professional looking final product here thanks to the effects applied in Premiere Elements.